Yep. Pat, you are live.
Good morning, or good afternoon, or good evening, depending on wherever you are in the world. I'm Pat, and I'm going to be your underwater biologist today, taking you on this dive. On camera, we have Emil, and on the surface, we have Lauren. Now, I'm diving on the left-hand side of Grand Cayman today. I'm sorry, Katrina Point in Grand Cayman, and I am at 15 metres, so 50 feet down, and I am on the western side of Grand Cayman, just out the front and to the left of Don Foster's Dive Centre. Now today, I'm going to wave, really hoping to get this turtle. We did get a turtle the first time, but unfortunately it was just a little bit too far away for the cable to reach, so we want a proper turtle sighting. Apart from that, the reef is looking a bit slow at the moment, so we are also going to be moving slow, and we'll move inwards, shallower, and then along the edge of the reef because the visibility is pretty bad, and we want the best lighting. And it seems to be where the most activity has been lately as well, is on the edge of the reef. So we'll head out that way and see what we can find. So do you want to say hello to everyone, Lauren?
Hi everyone, thank you for joining us on our second dive of today. Now remember to send in your questions or comments or even requests to the normal channels on Facebook and YouTube, and if you are using Twitter, make sure you use that hashtag diveLIVE. Now, Pat seems to think the reef is quiet, but I've got a good feeling about this dive. I would love to see that turtle again because it's been so long since we've had a good turtle sighting. I want to see more hamlets, Pat.
You want to see a what?
More hamlets.
More hamlets for sure. So this side of the reef is hamlet central, so I will definitely be on the lookout. But right here, we have ourselves a white spotted filefish, a really cute little baby white spotted filefish. I think this is about 15 centimetres long, so about 7-8 inches.
That's brilliant. Look at the two of them just looking at each other.
Yeah, so on its right we have a coney, which is a species of grouper, and this is the golden colour variation. They do come in quite a lot of different colours, and we've seen this one 3 times now on diveLIVE, and every time it has been on this exact same bombing. So I reckon this must be its home. And despite its bright coloration, it's not scared to just sit about on this and really expose itself.
Yeah, so we do have a golden coney, as Pat mentioned, which is part of the grouper family, and we also have a white spotted filefish, and the two of them just seem to be hanging out together.
Yeah, they have these little friends here. So this one would almost be a full-grown coney. They really don't get that big, especially when you consider how big other species of groupers can get. Some can get up to 6 feet, but these ones will max out at 1 to 2.
So, Pat, Yvonne would like an angelfish, Janine would like a turtle or a trumpet fish, and we do have quite a few requests from love dogs and some others requesting a porcupine fish, so keep your eyes open.
Alright, those are all very achievable, and I'm sure we can find at least one, if not multiple of them.
So this golden coney is really yellow and really stands out in colour amongst the rest of the reef. They're normally quite stationary, they move with a purpose, so we always see it just hanging out on a coral bombing, either resting or waiting to be cleaned. Not sure where this one is headed.
So we're showing up already quite dramatically, and that's just because how built up this area is. So corals actually have an algae that lives inside of it, relies on sunlight to produce energy, and the energy that they produce, the coral utilises for itself. So we often find corals in shallow, clear and warm waters. So as we're getting shallower, the corals are actually getting more built up, and we can see this here because it's almost like a hilly landscape, except quite a bit more complex than just a flat hill.
Well, Laurie's asking for a parrotfish, so that should be pretty simple to find.
Yeah.
Parrotfish are normally everywhere on the reefs. They're key species here, and it's normally pretty easy to point out a parrotfish. And we have one. What species of parrotfish is this, Pat?
I don't actually know what this species is. I believe it's the queen, but perhaps you can get the identification guide out and tell us exactly what one it is.
Yep, I'm just going to double check because I can't quite make out the colours, so let me check for you. I do believe it could be the red band. Oh, it's darted away. They always do that when we're trying to identify them. So parrotfish have big fused beaks, and that's exactly where they get their name from, after the parrot, the bird. And when we see them, they're always either eating algae or pooping out sand. They're quite fast-moving fish, and they're important to have in the reefs because they do glaze all of this algae.
Just to expand on what Lauren was saying, the name parrotfish is because of their beaks, but there's actually also more similarities to a parrot. So parrotfish pretty much exclusively use their pectoral fins to move. So pectoral fins are the ones on the side, so it looks like they're flapping their wings like a parrot, and also the males are very brightly coloured. So there's 3 similarities between the parrotfish and a real parrot.
Wow, I love that. So it still looks like there's a lot of plankton in the water, is that right, Pat?
Yeah, yes, there is heaps. The visibility is pretty bad. I would say 15 metres. Well, you can actually see a fair way ahead of me, but it's very clouded and murky, so yeah, there's a lot of plankton. But, Emil, I'm going to put your camera skills to the test. Let's see if you can get a close-up of this fish here. And Lauren, I would like to see if you can identify it. It looks like a tiny little filefish. A very, very tiny filefish.
Is it in the Gorgonian?
That's on top of this rock sponge here at the very top.
Oh, is it a sponge? Oh, I can see it. Okay, bear with me.
It's very cute. You can see the trigger on the top of its head. It's almost as long as its body.
This could very well be a pygmy filefish, but I'm just trying to get a better look. Great job, Emil. I think this is a pygmy filefish. Well spotted, Pat.
Very nice. They are cute little creatures. Obviously, a lot smaller than that white spotted filefish that we were showing you before. But still.
So this species will actually only go up to 4 inches, so it is incredibly small, which is where the name pygmy obviously comes from. And we have actually been waiting to see one of these for quite some time, so another exciting spotting.
Yes, another new one to add to the list, and that's another species for today's goal of 1 species per dive.
So you can see the size of Pat there, so you can imagine exactly how small this fish is. Can you show us using your fingers, Pat?
Yeah, so I'll put my fingers there.
No, I mean like,
It's about an inch long.
So it is probably a juvenile pygmy. And it is quite well camouflaged in that sponge there.
Yeah, it's sitting very straight and vertical.
They normally do disguise themselves some way or another, and they're very commonly found in floating patches of sargassum. Richard was asking, what is the hand signal for parrotfish?
Is there a hand signal from parrotfish?
Not that I know, I'm afraid.
I don't think I've ever signaled to someone that they've seen one, because they are very abundant on the reef. You can almost guarantee that you get to see not one, but multiple on every dive here.
Yes, they are critical to the reef ecosystems.
Yeah, they are herbivores, and so they keep the corals free of algae so they don't get smothered. So they play a really vital role in the ecosystem here. And there's heard stories of other ecosystems where parrotfish have actually been overfished and the reefs get smothered with algae and obviously start to degrade as a result of this.
Yet they are a keystone species in most ecosystems for this reason. They control algae from top down, so they're the ultimate herbivores.
So whoever it was that requested a porcupine fish,
Yes.
they also like to see one of these too, because once you suggested this, it made me realise that we haven't actually seen one for ages. There's a stage there that we've seen 2, maybe 3 per dive, but it's been quite a while since we've seen one.
Yeah, that's true. I haven't really thought of that. A lot of things that we used to normally see have kind of disappeared. We have noticed a shift underwater. So again, we can't say scientifically exactly what's happening, but we are looking into it. There does seem to be a seasonal shift, and we can see this with the animals that we see and their behavior. So how deep are you now, Pat?
I've come quite a bit shallower. At 9.4 metres, so just a little over 30 feet down. And while I'm at it, I may as well do my hair. I have 150 bar.
So Jacqueline mentioned that she would love to see an octopus, and trust me, so would we. We talk about them almost every day. We know that they are here. They're just notoriously difficult to find. Octopus do have a mating season, and when that happens, they are a lot more visible. But right now, it's not that season, and trust me, it is at the top of our wish list.
Oh yeah, that is the holy grail right now, I think, for diveLIVE, octopus. Get that live. We came so close one day, just as the camera was turning around to it, bang, it was gone. So we really would like to see one. They are also the masters of camouflage. Not only can they change their shape, they can also change their colours.
John actually mentioned he's surprised he doesn't see more urchins, and there is in fact a lot of urchins around. Oh, spiny lobsters and a lionfish.
Yes, there are quite a few urchins, but yeah, we got a spiny lobster and right next to it a lionfish too.
Nice find. Someone was requesting a lionfish, so what do you want to talk about first, Pat?
Well, we spotted the spiny lobster first, so let's stay on that.
Okay, so spiny lobsters are not true lobsters, as you would think. They don't have these big claws. They are missing the claws, so are not classified as true lobsters. In actual fact, they're not even that closely related to true lobsters. They are different. And this one does look like a juvenile. We can tell by the coloration and the pattern. And the reason they're called a spiny lobster is because they have lots of little spines on their hard exoskeleton shell.
They can be quite damaging, I have heard, with these spines. They don't look that lethal, but they can actually provide a bit of a wound if you try to pick one up with your hands or if you're another fish coming along. But their main defense mechanism is these antennae at the front. So a male will guard their den by sitting at the front of it and sticking these antennae out towards the predator or whatever is coming at it. And so then, if they're sitting at the den with these antennas out, the predator can't really come in and get a bite off them. And so you'll quite often see a male defending a den, and there will probably be one or more females inside as well.
Yes, males do. When they reach adult, they do guard their dens. They have such a unique reproduction and mating system. The rumours of lobsters being serial monogamous is true. They do not stay with the same partner for life, but they do meet a partner and stay loyal to that one for several days on end until it's time to move on to the next one. So this lobster that we're seeing is definitely a juvenile, and it has a lot of growing to do. So they need to molt to get rid of their skeleton in order to grow a new one. They cannot grow within this rigid, structured exoskeleton. So to sort of grow, they bulk themselves up with water and they molt this skeleton that we can see right now. They get rid of it and then they will grow a new one. And spiny lobsters can actually molt about 4 times per year.
Wow, I didn't know they molted that much. It's actually surprising we don't see more pelstrous shells here on the reef.
Yeah, so we do actually see some lobster skeletons lying around, and that doesn't mean that the animal is dead or has been eaten. It can just be a molt.
Now, spiny lobsters will migrate during stormier seasons to deeper waters, and I really love talking about this because it looks hilarious. What they do is they line up from carapace, from antennas to carapace. So pretend that the antennas of one is here, and that's the body, and then behind it, the other one will lay its antennas down, and then if that body's there, then the one behind it will do that until it's like a conga line of 5 or 10 lobsters. And then they will migrate in this line to deeper waters. And this is called queuing.
Yeah, and it's so interesting. They in numbers, also for the ability to give warnings to one another if danger is ahead. Also, the most sensitive part of a lobster is the stomach, the abdomen, the underside. So this is the most vulnerable to injury. So by queuing in this unique formation that Pat just told us about, they're actually protecting that really vulnerable part of their body. And of course, by forming a big line, they're more hydrodynamic. So they have more force when moving this way than if they were moving alone.
Another hamlet species here. I'm not sure if it's a juvenile butter hamlet or a new one.
Okay, I am on this right away. I haven't got a sighting of it yet.
Where has it gone? Seems to have disappeared.
But while you're looking, we did actually have some comments about, well, Marcy mentioned that the lionfish looks black and white on the screen. Now, when they're juvenile, they are actually more black in color, and then when they become an adult, it becomes more red, and they are called the red lionfish. The one that we just saw was definitely an adult. But remember, red is the first color that is lost underwater. So below 10 meters, red can actually look black. So that is maybe why this lionfish appeared blacker. Did you manage to find the hamlet, Pat?
No, it was a very small one. So I lost pretty much instantly. Sorry.
So many people do have questions about the lobster and the lionfish. Are we close by to them?
We could probably turn that around and find them.
So Marcy, no, the spiny lobsters do not have big claws. They are not true stronger, and they're used in fighting and defense. But underneath these antennas are a set of antennas, and these are used to sense smell. They are filled with they have up to 400 different types of receptors, and this is how they smell and navigate their way through the ocean. They are olfactory predators, and their sense of smell is actually likened to that of a dog than that of a human. They are very good at smelling. And hello there, spiny lobster. I do see your questions on YouTube. Keep them coming. I do see them. So yeah, this lobster's eyes, which we can see nice and clearly, it's very big and black. It's actually a compound eye. It's made up of lots and lots of little lenses, so you would automatically think that they have really good eyesight. This is not correct. They really don't have good eyesight at all. They're only really able to see sort of shadows and movement. So in dim light, they're able to see a little bit, but in bright light, they're almost blinded. So they really don't rely on their eyes. They rely heavily on this sense of smell. Their sense of smell is so good that they can actually determine between two very closely related but different species of mussel. So this one's definitely a juvenile.
Yeah, it's not very big. I'd say probably its body length is only about 20 centimeters long, 8 inches. Now, lobsters are classed as decapods. What a decapod is a crustacean with 10 legs. So that's what ties them in with crabs and shrimps as well. If you look at crabs and shrimps, they will all have 10 pairs of walking legs. Now, a lot of them do tend to have more appendages, such as swimming legs or claws, but generally, there's always those 10 walking legs.
Yeah, and they do tend to feed primarily on gastropods, chitons, bow themselves by moray eels and nurse sharks, and of course humans.
Yes, they are a bit of a delicacy around here.
So they have this unique way of deterring predators, and obviously they're armed with this really hard, thick exoskeleton. It's thicker than that of true lobsters, but they can actually rub the really long antennas that are used for defense. They're able to rub them against a smooth part of their shell, and it creates a screeching sound, and this is enough to deter predators. Many animals on the reef are very sensitive to sound as well, so a sound like that would completely deter them. Pat, Shamson is asking, how many years does a spiny lobster live? Do you know this?
Well, that's very interesting actually. Spiny lobsters, or lobsters in general, are actually very long-lived for underwater creatures of the crustaceans. So they actually prevent senescence. What senescence is after they're reproductively active for quite some time, it's pretty much when they get old and wait around to die. But this doesn't happen in lobsters. They have very good ways of dealing with parasites, don't get cancers or tumours or anything like that. So they can actually live quite some time. So much so that some people believe that I'm mortal. But the oldest spiny lobster I've heard of, I believe, was 82 years old. It was definitely over 80 years old. But yeah, so they can live for quite a long time.
We can see it retreating into his den there. And it's great camera work, Emil. Good job. So there's a lot of research into how lobsters can migrate, how they can form these queues and find their way back. And research has actually shown that lobsters can return to their own regions when they are placed in unfamiliar terrain. So they can actually be moved, blindfolded and all sorts of things, and they will navigate back to where they belong.
That's really fascinating. The way that some sea creatures find their way back or through a place without using their sense of vision or cues such as that.
So are we able to take a look at the lionfish?
Yes, sure.
So James is asking, has it only been one species of lionfish that has become invasive, Pat?
Yes, it is. Just this species that we're seeing here. What name I actually don't know, so do you have it there, Lauren?
What was that, sorry, Pat?
Just the scientific name of the species? I don't actually know that, but yes, this is the only invasive one here in Great Cayman.
Yes, it is the red lionfish. I will just get that. It's plethora volitans. So it definitely is found in the Indian Ocean and the Pacific. And it's obviously made its way over here. We don't really know how, and it's became an incredible problem, and it's now known as an invasive species.
And what an invasive species is a species that has been introduced outside of its native range by one way or another, and has successfully inhabited this area and grown and reproduced, but the key thing here is that it has a negative impact on the ecosystem. So there has been actually evidence of some invasive species benefiting the ecosystem, more than likely not though, but in this case with the lionfish, they really did negatively impact the ecosystem. They were very good at hunting small fish and a wide range of small fish, and at the same time they didn't really have any predators either, so there was nothing killing them off, but they were killing everything else off. And we all know how delicate the balance of an ecosystem is, so when it's thrown out this dramatically, it's not a good thing for biodiversity. What biodiversity is the range of different organisms in an ecosystem, and it's always better to have a higher biodiversity.
So just to explain to everyone, this lionfish is hanging upside down. A lot of fish do that in caves when they're nocturnal animals and they're resting and hiding during the day. And these beautiful sort of plumage of feathers that we can see are spines, and they do contain venom. So you have dorsal, ventral and anal spines, so they're completely surrounded apart from their stomach, but they use them defensively, not offensively. So they don't actively seek out challenges and use their spines. It's just there in self-defense when they are hunting. They will not ambush you. The venom that is contained is a neurotoxin, and this affects neuromuscular transmission. So things can actually even occur once the animal is dead, so you need to always be careful when handling lionfish. Richard is asking, is there any parts of the Caribbean that have been spared of lionfish so far?
Not that I'm aware of. I actually wrote a paper on this many years ago now. It's probably about 3 or 4 years ago now. When I was looking into this, it seemed that it has obliterated everywhere. I think the problem has gotten a lot better now due to culling efforts. But yeah, they were very widespread among the Caribbean.
Yes, and until the 1990s there had been absolutely no sightings of the lionfish. So since then that they have just came here, and because they've got no natural predators and so much food, the populations have just boomed. And it is said that on some reefs off the coast of Florida you can actually find 1,000 lionfish per acre. So there's a lot of lionfish there, and some lionfish hunts, which are legal, can produce over 1,500 per day. So they do say the numbers have doubled since 2010, so it is a slightly worrying situation. They are very beautiful to look at, but a dangerous beauty, shall we say. They're also very confident in their place in the food chain. They know that they don't have any predators, so they will really dart away from you. They don't swim away, they're not scared, and they do actually move really gracefully. So our beard was saying our divers encouraged to kill them, Pat.
Current divers encouraged to kill the lionfish?
Yeah.
Yes, they are, but you have to be trained. So they do a course here where you can be trained to go on lionfish culls, and then they have events where you can go out and spear them. But they are also very aware that spearfishing can be used for bad, especially if they're not targeting the lionfish. So they also regulate the amount of spears in the actual country. So you can't bring a spear into Grand Cayman, and only certain people are allowed to have them.
Yes, that's correct. So it's very controlled. Pat could not just produce a spear right now and go culling them. It is legal in a controlled aspect. So that was a great sighting of the lobster and the lionfish together.
Yeah, it's always good to get at least one ion that isn't moving very fast and slow. But even better, so we can get two in the same spot. Makes my job a lot easier.
So can I just get an air check from you, Pat?
Yes. So I'm on 110 bar.
Alright, plenty of time. So I really hope we do get to see that hamlet.
Yeah, well, that specific one I think has gone away, but as I said earlier, this left-hand side of the reef is teeming with hamlets. So we'll try and find another one.
So Pat, Craig was asking, what are the leaf-like things around the mouth of the lionfish?
So they are scary. They're cold, and they are kind of like little tentacles. What they do is they are an sensory organ.
So So we can see lots of small fish just hovering over the reef there. And it is quite easy to tell from where we all are that the visibility is not great today. But that doesn't matter. It's been a lucky dive so far. You never know what you're going to see. Now, Take Care was asking, why is it actually called a lionfish? So I believe that many people comment that it should be a tiger fish because of the striped patterns. But I believe because it is a fearsome predator and it's a dangerous beauty. Do you have any more information on why it's called a lionfish?
Sorry, Lauren, I can't hear you right now.
Jared is just adjusting that. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Perfect. Do you know exactly why it's called a lionfish?
I don't know exactly why. I think it has something to do with the spines. The way they radiate around its head. It makes it look like a lion.
That would make sense, like a lion's mane.
But I do believe they also call it turkey fish in another region. Now, I have no idea why you would call them turkey fish.
Oh, we have a Christmas tree worm.
Yes. Another not moving organism. This is good. So we call organisms that don't move or stay in one spot sessile. S-E-S-S-I-L-E. Now this is one organism, not two. So the two radioles, or the two Christmas trees coming out the top, are just actually a small segment, about a third of the actual worm's length itself. The rest will be buried away inside that very little coral that it's settled on there. And what it actually does is it has a bit of a relationship with the corals because they won't actually bore into the corals. They will rather set their tubes and let the corals grow around them.
Yes, they kind of force themselves upon the coral polyps, and they choose their corals very carefully, most likely for reproduction reasons and also to avoid getting eaten by that hungry parrotfish that comes along and scrapes all the coral. Now I'm sure you can see exactly why it's called a Christmas tree. These underwater pines, as you like, look exactly like beautiful little Christmas trees. They can live particularly long. It has been recorded that they grow up to 30 years of age, but around between 10 and 20 is far more common. And there is actually separate male and female Christmas tree worms, so separate sexes, which we will not be able to tell using our naked eyes. And they're broadcast spawners, so they spawn and they release their eggs and sperm into the water column. After fertilization, it only takes a mere 24 hours for the larvae to develop.
Now, obviously being buried away, they have to use these radioles to get food, oxygen, and to photoreceptor, or to see, not really see, but to sense light. So they use these radioles, they have photoreceptors there, which won't see, they won't visually see, but it senses light, and then they also filter food out of the particles, out of the current, and what they do is they'll capture it, and then it'll go down the spiral, kind of like a conveyor belt, into the stomach, and then lastly it also filters oxygen out of the water as well.
That's correct. And Craig is asking, how long does it take for the coral to grow around them? So Craig, that would mainly depend on the species of coral. As you know, coral is incredibly slow growing. The branching species are particularly fast growing. However, Christmas tree worms like to set up home in the bigger, bolder, mountainous corals, which are really slow growing. So it does depend on the species of coral coral that it sets up home in.
Now, Emil has spotted something here, but I can't see it. Can you see what it is?
I can just see what looks like some coral bleaching or coral disease. I'm not sure if I'm looking at the correct thing.
Nah, he said don't worry about it. I'm not sure. Ooh, so we have a little hamlet just here. Or two hamlets. Now, I believe this one might be the shy hamlet, or maybe it's the yellow belly hamlet.
Oh, I think you are right, Pat. Let me just have a look and confirm that. I would hate to give out the wrong information. Hamlets are very new to me. I have not seen them before. And yet, this is a yellow belly. So I specifically told Pat before this dive I wanted him to find me some more species of hamlets. I've kind of became a little bit obsessed with them and I want to tick them all off my list. So Lara Moore asked quite an interesting question, Pat. It's a general one, but it's very interesting. She mentioned that Hawaii will ban sunscreen. Does sunscreen actually harm corals?
Yes, so there are some chemicals that are contained in sunscreen that actually affect corals by slowing down their metabolism and poisoning them. So it's very important if you are choosing a sunscreen, especially if you're planning on going in the ocean, to use reef-safe sunscreen that exclude these nasty chemicals that have these negative effects on corals.
Absolutely. I did read a study recently which was focused on the Great Barrier Reef, which is obviously in Pat's side of the world, and they do estimate that a large proportion of the damage done to the Great Barrier Reef is from sunscreen. It's full of chemicals which are absorbed by the corals and they do a phenomenal amount of damage. So as Pat mentioned, there is reef-safe sunscreen out there, and you have to remember when you're going in the water, a lot of people lather up right before going in the water. They put excess amounts of creams on, and when they jump off, this all will just slide off and it is absorbed by the corals. So it's definitely worth thinking about for your next vacation to check on the reef-safe sunscreens. Love Dogs would love to see a golden hamlet. So I'm getting people attached onto the hamlets now, and I would love to see a golden as well. We haven't seen a golden one yet.
Sorry, Lauren, your audio has dropped out again.
That's okay. Can you hear me now? Perfect. Can we have an air check and a depth check from you, Pat?
Hi. I am at 80 bar and 8.3 meters, 25 feet.
And that was a barred hamlet that Emil had just found. So we have seen this one before, but this is a hamlet, the barred hamlet. Hamlets are actually simultaneous or synchronous hermaphrodites, so they contain both the male and female sex organs. So this is quite unique among reef fishes. We do have hermaphrodites, but it's normally sequential hermaphrodites, which means they will be one sex and they will transform into the other. With hamlets, they have both male and female sex organs, and when they are about to mate with another, one will take the lead female role and the other one will just go with the male role, and that is how they mate. So these cute, beautiful and colourful fish are obviously a lot more complicated than given credit for.
Now, today on the between dives, I went for a swim out. Another lady that was swimming also saw this nurse shark. So, with my last remaining bits of air, let's head over to the hard pan and see if we can see this nurse shark.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I am starting to learn to love life in the hard pan. And James is requesting an indigo hamlet. We know they're your favourites. We don't see the indigo so much, but Pat, keep your eyes peeled.
Definitely. Indigo hamlets, in my opinion, are one of the best looking hamlets there are.
Oh, that's a tough one. I could argue that one with you, but they definitely are very good looking. So Sharon was asking, what is the temperature of the water?
Temperature of the water is 28 degrees Celsius, which is 82 degrees Fahrenheit.
So nice and warm. Oh, we do have a hogfish.
Yes, this is a big hogfish as well. This ought to be about 80 or 90 centimetres, so about 3 feet long.
Hogfish are the biggest of the wrasse family, the same family that parrotfish are grouped in, and they're actually very closely related to the parrotfish within the grouping.
Yes, they don't really resemble parrotfish or wrasse, considering how closely related they are. But this one looks like a terminal phase male. We can tell that by the fact that it's got a darker coloration and some more distinct patterns on its body. And what I'm seeing by terminal phase is that, so when they are born, that is their initial phase. And the initial phase is when they are a juvenile and they haven't sexually matured. And then their next phase, they will be a female. So they won't be, they won't have male reproductive organs. And then once for some reason or another, the dominant male or the terminal male is taken away from their group, then the female will start to transition and turn into this terminal male.
Yep, so they go from small females into males. So this is a perfect example of what I was saying, sequential hermaphrodite. So they can grow up to 3 feet, which is about 1 meter, and can actually weigh up to 22 pounds. Their Latin name, I'm probably going to pronounce this wrong, but is Lacnolimus maximus. So you can see where the maximus comes from. It is a big fish, and it's known to live up to 11 years in the wild.
Yes, that maximum does fit very well, because if you look at the Spanish hogfish, if I see one I will point out, but they are very closely related, but the Spanish hogfish is tiny compared to these hogfish.
So you can see the spines on the top of the head. This gives it a very beautiful and quite elaborate look, and this is where the Spanish name Doncella de Pluma comes from. So this is what they actually call this fish, and it translates to feathered maiden, and you can see where the feathered part comes from. It's a really beautiful fish. So hogfish are actually like chameleons of the sea. They can quickly change their colours from white, which it has to sort of blend in with the surroundings or hide amongst other similar looking fish, or they can go speckled brown to pinky looking, which is to appear scary or to attract a mate. They don't rely on their eyes to change colour. They sense light with their skin. They have special dermal photoreception.
Alright, so let's leave this hogfish to be, because I have fished 50 bucks. So it's time for me to go do my safety stuff and head up to Lauren. Thank you all for joining me today. It's been another pleasant dive. The visibility wasn't great, but we did end up seeing some cool things. So we will be back down diving with you again tomorrow at 7 a.m. and 11 a.m. Grand Cayman time. Tell your mates, and we'll see you there.
Thank you everybody for joining us, and a big thank you to Pat for covering me while I have this ear infection. But we will see you both tomorrow nice and early at 7 a.m. Grand Cayman time.